Hello one and all, I am back once again, and this time I'm here to recommend The Death Mage, or I think more accurately, The Death Mage as won a fourth time, because this light novel, it is good. It is so freaking good. And it features one of the most unlucky protagonists of all times. Seriously, this dude is freaking cursed. I mean, at one point he does actually become cursed, but even before then, he is sort of, unofficially cursed. Now, in his first life, and just God above the fact, and he starts off by saying first life should be a massive red flag that things don't go well for him. But anyway, though, in his first life, his parents die when he is incredibly young. I'm not really sure how young, but he refers to his third mother as his first and only mother, so I'm going to say when he was a baby. And after this, he was raised by his aunt and uncle, and they, kinda absolutely freaking suck. I mean, seriously, they are awful. They say, no toys, no games, no TV, no fast food, no Christmas, no birthday, basically no fun whatsoever, because it will make you soft. Which is a rather interesting parenting style, especially when they give all those things to their own children, but just not Vandal, just not our protagonist. So, yeah, I think that might just actually be sociopaths. But regardless of this, Vandal realizes, okay, I should make it till I'm 18. Once I turn 18, I inherit all of my parents' money and I'm free. I can go live my own life. I can go do whatever I freaking want to. Unfortunately, like I said, he's kind of cursed, and his entire class and a bunch of other people are killed by terrorists on a field trip. So, yeah, that sucks. And it only gets worse from here. Seriously, this is a high point of his life. As right after dying, he, his classmates, everyone else who died, appear before God, the god Rodokolte, however you freaking pronounce that, and he basically explains to them, okay, you all have a choice. You can either go back to Earth, lose all of your memories, and become somebody new, reincarnate there, or you can keep all your memories, go to this insane world with magic and fantasy and all this amazing stuff, and become essentially gods. You will have insane, overpowered cheat abilities, and you get to keep your memories. So what's gonna be? And basically everyone says, yeah, I want to become a god in this new world, including Van. Unfortunately though, this god, Rigolte, is a complete and absolute moron and ends up giving Vandal's entire blessing to another guy whose name just happens to be similar to his own. So that means not only does Vandal not have, insane cheat abilities, he will have absolutely no affinity for magic, and he will be completely and absolutely cursed, have bad luck for his entire life. And, yeah, that god, I mean, he's an idiot, but he was right in the money with that one. As Vandal is born to a, Lady of the Night, I think that's the YouTube-friendly way of saying that, and his actual father, skips town very quickly, and his stepfather ends up selling him for beer money to a lab, where they find out, hey, this kid has an insane capacity for magical abilities, but has, no compatibility with any of the affinities. What's up with that? And they quickly realize, oh, he has affinity for death magic, a new magical attribute we literally just discovered inside of him. And they quickly realize, oh, that magical attribute and that magical power, yeah, Vandal's probably the strongest person in the entire world, or at least, very high ranking. So they decide the best possible thing to do in the situation is essentially break his mind and body to the point where he's not actually able to move himself without their say-so, without their permission. So he becomes a slave for the next 20 years as they torture him daily. Yay! But eventually he's finally able to achieve freedom when they accidentally kill him. Yeah, a new scientist shows up and wants to, really make a name for himself, so he pushes the experiment a little bit too hard, and Vandal dies. Though this is a blessing in disguise, because once he's dead, he's able to basically possess his own body, and he goes on a massive killing spree, taking out all the scientists, and breaks out, and then is able to breathe fresh air for the first time in decades, and there, standing before him, are all of his classmates! They came to rescue him! No, as they immediately shoot him to death, or second death, undeath, whatever. He appears once again before the god, and he is, rightfully ticked off that God's itty-bitty mistake led to him suffering so overwhelmingly, and he basically declares in this moment that he's going to hunt down every one of his classmates and murder them in their third world. And this is, it's something said out of anger, and it's something I think he does end up regretting down the road, because Because, this isn't actually a revenge series. It kind of is, kind of isn't, but in this moment it is not. I mean, yes, he's really mad at his classmates, but after he gets reborn in the third world, he meets his mother, a beautiful, beautiful dark elf woman who loves and adores him overwhelmingly, even though he is very clearly not a normal child, and his father was a vampire, meaning they're both being hunted by the church. Regardless of all that, she loves him, and Vandal very quickly realizes, okay, you know what? If Mom doesn't want me to, go on a massive revenge spree, I won't. I'll just live a quiet, peaceful life with her somewhere, somewhere deep in the woods. That'll be nice. But anyway, though, in this moment, he is very, very angry, and God decides, yeah, I can't have you killing the other reincarnators, because I kind of need that for my own little project, so I'm going to curse you. I'm going to curse you with the worst curses I can possibly imagine. Curses so horrific and horrible that you will be forced to end your own life almost immediately. And here, once again, we find out that this god is an idiot, a complete and absolute moron, because these curses, they don't really amount to all that much. The first one says he's not able to carry over any experience from his past lives, which means, all of his levels and everything gets reset back to 0, which certainly slows him down, but he still has, the memory of how magic works, and within 6 months of being born, he's able to use death magic again. So, yeah, not the biggest issue. It causes some problems, but not the biggest issue. The second curse says that, he's not able to level up by himself. He's not able to gain any experience, which again sounds bad, but once he levels up his death magic a bit, he's able to summon undead warriors, and when they kill somebody, he gains experience, so within the span of 1 year he manages to reach level 100, the highest possible level he can reach without taking a job, like, swordsman, mage, whatever. And this then brings us to the third curse, which says that he's not able to take any jobs. And this, again, sounds bad, but right now it's not, a huge pressing concern, because the only place you can take a job is in the church, and the church is actively hunting him, so, again, not the biggest deal in the world right now. Anyway, though, like I said, Vandal's loving his new life in this new world. Yes, both him and his mother are being hunted by the church, but still, it's a quiet, peaceful life. He's happy, he's healthy, he's just really enjoying himself. Until one day, his mother doesn't come back. And then the next day, she's still not back, so Vandal decides to, go looking for her. Even though he's only 6 months old at this point, thankfully, like I said, he summons undead warriors, and they basically carry him into the city, where he finds his mother. Or miraculously, he finds his mother's ghost. Yeah, the church caught her, and they killed her, and oh god, it is so, so heartbreaking, because her ghost itself is actually scarred. They tortured her so badly, it actually affected her freaking soul. Oh my holy god above, that's awful. That is so, so awful, but still, no matter what they did to her, she refused to give up. She refused to tell them where Van was. And so they just burned her at the stake in the center of town. And remember a minute ago when I said this wasn't a revenge series? Well, it just kind of became a revenge series, as Van now has 5 new targets for his revenge. Number 1 is, the town itself. They cheered when his mother died, and as a result, they need to suffer, they need to pay. Number 2 is the town lord, who's trying to exploit his mother's death for political power. Number 3 are the hunters who sold out his mother. Number 4 and 5 are the high priest and the adventuring party who actually, captured his mother. So, yeah, a lot of people he wants to make suffer. Though that is, a secondary priority, and the first and foremost thing in his mind is finding a way to bring his mother back to life. Which is going to be, particularly tricky, especially because his mother's body has been completely and utterly burnt. There's basically just ash left, and she's ready to move on to the afterlife. She has no attachment left to this world. And Van has to stop her. He forcibly stops her, and he's able to do this thanks to his skill, Death Attribute Allure, which basically means that all dead things and undead things absolutely love him. They love this kid. Van, you're my man! One character, a particularly not that intelligent character, a real dum-dum, actually describes it as wanting to see himself reflected in Van's eyes. Oh, that was beautiful. That was so, so beautiful. And again, it came from a complete and absolute idiot. I love that. This also actually ability he had in his second life when he was, a lab rat. At one point, one of the scientists who'd been torturing him for years and years and years suddenly died of a heart attack, and upon becoming a ghost, he immediately fell to his hands and knees and begged Van for forgiveness because, as soon as he became dead, he was charmed by Van and wanted to be loved by him. Oh, that's such an awesome ability, especially because, down the road, when Van needs to interrogate people, he can just kill them, and their ghost will tell him anything he wants to know. Even if they were mortal enemies, the ghost will immediately, become subservient to Van and do whatever he wants. Oh, that's such a cool ability. It's also, just an overwhelmingly messed up ability. Seriously, this is like maybe my biggest problem with this series so far. That ability, it's awful. It is so, so awful. Because, like I said, his mother, she's ready to move on to the afterlife, but he's able to stop her. He's basically able to force her by charming her. His mother wanted to move on. She wanted to go to the afterlife, to reincarnate and all that. But Van wouldn't let her. He overrode her own free will. And that's messed up. That is seriously, seriously messed up. I mean, it's not like she wanted to abandon her child, but she knew if she stuck around, if she stayed in the mortal world, she was become, a lead weight and anchor that was weighing Van down, and she didn't want that, but Van ignored her will and forced his own upon her, and it just gets so, so much more messed up when we meet the ghouls, who just, instantly love this kid because they're basically being charmed by him, and this gets especially creepy when one of the female ghouls, there's no real nice way of saying this, so I'll just say this. She asks for his seed. She asks a 1-year-old for his seed. Holy mother of God above, that is messed up. That is so messed up in just an infinite number of ways. Now, it's made very, very clear that the ghouls, especially, the stronger of the ghouls, don't really have all that much intelligence. They're fairly dumb, and they're, lacking a lot of, human understanding, so a bit of that can be forgive, but just the fact that Van is able to essentially inspire these feelings in women with his skill without even trying to it is disturbing. It is seriously overwhelmingly disturbing. I mean, thankfully, Van hasn't gone through puberty yet, and he's a good person, so that's not a major issue right now, but just that skill by itself is kind of a massive, massive red flag. But anyway, though, then it's time for revenge. I mean, okay, at first it's like 2 months of Van living underground in total darkness as he's waiting for the High Priest and the Adventuring Party to leave, but after that it's time for revenge. First off, against the town and the town lord, and his revenge is, unique. Absolutely unique. His mother actually refers to it as a gentle revenge, as he basically gathers as many spirits as he can and has them all possess the walls surrounding the town and then orders them to just leave, to walk away. So the literal walls surrounding this town just stand up and start marching away. And this is honestly hilarious. I want to see an anime just for this one freaking scene as everyone tries to comprehend what's going on. One of the captains of the guards orders his men to go after the walls and bring them back. Which is utterly, utterly ridiculous, but also an order he kind of has to give because without the walls, they'll be attacked by goblins nonstop, and a lot of people are probably going to die. But you know what? Van doesn't kill anybody directly, so it is, in a way, a gentle revenge. As he puts it, he's giving them a chance. He's giving them a chance to put their lives back together because he still has a chance to bring his mother back from the dead. And there's also sort of, his revenge against the town lord, though before he leaves, he also poisons all the town lord's wine, has it turned to vinegar, because that's something he can do with his death magic. Awesome. Anyway, though, also the hunters. I almost forgot the hunters. Before he goes into his 2-month lockdown, the hunters go after him, thinking, hey, this is a 6-month-old child. We can grab him and then sell him for parts. Bad idea. Very, very bad idea, as Van is able to grab them and then tortures them and kills them. And I think it actually gets worse after that because he orders their spirits, which are, super, super apologetic for what they did to him, to possess the pillars holding up the cave. And I think he just leaves them there. I don't think he ever actually lets them move on to the afterlife. I don't think he ever, essentially frees them, which is, oh, that's horrifying. That is seriously overwhelmingly horrifying. Though it is also possible that he does that to everybody he kills, because otherwise they might come across the god of reincarnation and tell that god about Vandal, and that might cause him issues down the road. Curious, very curious. Anyway, though, then he leaves town and decides to go murder some bandits. As that is the best way to level up himself and his undead minions. And at this point, he has a skeleton soldier, undead monkey, and an undead bird. And I absolutely freaking love this undead bird because it is so useless. It is so absolutely and completely useless for a large chunk of this volume because it is literally just bones held together by magic. It can't actually fly. And Van needs to just keep reassuring, like, don't worry, buddy, I'm sure you'll learn to fly someday. It does, eventually, thank God. But just him trying to appease it over and over is just so, so sweet, and I absolutely love it. But anyway, though, then after killing a particularly large group of bandits, Vandal comes across Sam, a coachman driver, and his 2 daughters, who were murdered by the bandits. And, Sam immediately basically pledges loyalty to serve Vandal for the rest of his afterlife. Which again might partially be a result of the, death attribute lore skill, but at the same time, Vandal did just get revenge for him, and what's more, Sam, he was a coachman driver for a noble, a very, very kind noble in his actual life, and, he liked that life. He liked serving a strong and kind master, and he wants to do it now in the afterlife. And as for Sam's daughters, holy mother of God above, this might be my favorite detail in this entire series so far, as they become living armors. They possess armor, and that basically allows them to interact with the physical world. And the armor they end up possessing is, it is something else. They are the first characters I've ever seen in any series to actually make good use out of female armor. I think we all know the trope in RPGs and whatever. The male armor, as you level up, gets bigger and bulkier and heavier and jewel encrusted, while the female armor gets smaller and smaller and smaller until the character is basically walking around naked. That's what's happening right here, as we have the one-piece armor and the bikini armor. Holy mother of God above, is so utterly, utterly ridiculous. And if you're wondering why this armor is a thing, turns out a couple hundred years ago, a couple thousand years ago, a group of heroes came over from Japan and introduced a lot of their culture to this world, including, I'm guessing, female armor and also the Japanese language. That's also a really cool detail. Basically, as soon as Van is born, he's able to understand his mother because she's essentially speaking Japanese to him. That makes things so, so much easier. Huzzah! Anyway, though, so the 2 ghosts, the 2 daughters, managed to possess this armor, and it is actually incredibly effective for them, because normally female armor is okay, there's so much skin exposed, but for ghosts, it's okay, there's so many spots that aren't skin, that aren't armor, that you can just basically stab completely through, and I will be completely fine. Seriously, at one point, one of the sisters actually takes her battle axe and swings it through her sister, where her sister's abdomen should be, and manages to hit the enemy on the other side. So yeah, female armor is actually effective for once. Huzzah! Love it. Absolutely freaking love it. And I think that's where I'm going to end this video. Like I said, I would highly, highly recommend checking out this volume. It is so good, and I cannot wait to read the next one. I think it comes out in March or something. Also, just based on a quick look at the wiki, this is going to be a long series. I described it as being similar to Mushoku Tensei earlier, and that may actually be accurate. There's I think 20 to 30 volumes worth of web novel content, so this is going to be going on for a very, very long time, seriously. But I'm excited. Like I said, I really enjoyed this first volume. Can't wait for the second one. And honestly, I would so love to see an anime of this sometime down the road. The whole, Ghoul asking Vandal for his seed thing is definitely weird, and they might need to censor that a little bit. I pray to God they do, but the rest of it, I think, would make an absolutely fantastic anime. But please, let me know what you think down below. If you've read this series before, what'd you think of it? If you haven't, are you going to read it now? And if not, what other series would you like to see me do a video on? What other series would you like to see me recommend? But anyway, though, until next time, peace!